Coming off another winning weekend, we are currently up 10 units of profit already so far in this Premier League season, and I absolutely love it. How's it going, guys? It's your boy, Con GFPL, and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we'll be breaking down my 6 bets for Game Week 12, but before we move on to Game Week 12, let's just review Game Week 11. In Game Week 11, we had 3 best bets, but we only ended up hitting 2 of them. The first one was Havertz to have 2 shots and get one of them on target versus his former club, where you know the player is going to be extra motivated, but I don't know if it was a Havertz issue or an Arsenal issue, because over the course of 90 minutes, as a neutral, I really felt that Chelsea were maybe the slightly better team. I mean, Chelsea were at home, so maybe I just undervalued and underrated how good Chelsea can be, and maybe that's the lesson that I should be learning. Or maybe that I shouldn't be backing Arsenal attacking player props in big matches. I'm not sure exactly what the lesson is here, but Arsenal didn't play that great. And the shots that were created from Saka and from Odegaard were actually falling to the likes of Trossard and Martinelli, who got more of the shot volume. But in general, Arsenal didn't even have that many shots. So of course, Havertz didn't hit his line. That was a bad read from me. The second bet was Brighton versus Man City, where I thought it would be a back and forth style of match, and I was 100% correct on that, backing both teams to score over 2.5 goals in the game and Haaland to get a shot on target. Not only did he get a shot on target, he scored the match. Of course, it's Erling Haaland. I knew that whenever Man City were up 1-0, they were never going to be comfortable until they scored the second goal. I knew Brighton coming out of halftime down 1-0 would look to be more aggressive, where they tried to score a goal, especially at home. They subbed on their best player in João Pedro, and you know what? He missed a big chance. I was super frustrated, but maybe 5 minutes later, he got an assist. 5 minutes after that, he got the goal. Brighton ended up winning the game, which is crazy, and I'm a Liverpool fan, so I have a little bit of bias there, but I try to separate my bias whenever I'm looking at my bets, and when I'm looking at FPL, I try to just separate it, and it was crazy to see like the Man City downfall. Like, it's incredible. They've lost 2 games of their first 11. Last year, in 38 games, they only lost 3. Like, this is craziness. I didn't expect Man City to lose, but I mean, I'll take it. And the last bet was actually Cunha to get a goal or an assist, Aït-Nouri to get a shot, and Wolves to win or draw because they're at home versus Southampton. If you're ever going to be backing Wolves, this is just the right way to do it. Like, Cunha just scored an absolute screamer. He also got an assist in this game. Aït-Nouri got the shot like pretty early. I think it was early into the second half, so it wasn't really a sweat. And of course, Wolves end up getting a result. So happy that we took the risks on certain players that people will be like nervous to take money on and put it on Cunha and back Haaland when he's in poor form. But I thought these were great bets. Happy that they came off. And let's move on to Game Week 12. Let's start off with the lock of the game week. Now, I did consider 3 different options. The first one I considered was Alexander Isak to get a shot on target versus West Ham, but I was a little bit nervous to put that one leg on 6 different bets, given that Isak is a little bit injury prone. We've already seen him get a halftime sub already in the Prem. I still like that, but I just don't want to be putting it as a lock in every single bet. The second thing I considered was Fulham to win or draw versus Wolves because they're at home and they have an incredible record at home. But there's something that's weird and fishy about Fulham, where you have Fulham coming up and having teammates that are sort of looking to create for themselves. You'll see like Nelson and Smith Rowe are a little bit selfish. They're not really creating for the team. They're looking to score goals themselves rather than create chances for their number 9 and Raul Jimenez. Even though Jimenez is coming up against his former side where he'll have some added motivation, I wanted that to be Fulham as the lock of the game week to win or draw, but I have shied away from that as well. Just Fulham haven't really passed my eye test recently. And the one thing that I really do like this weekend that's close to my heart and it makes sense in my head as well, and is Liverpool to win versus Southampton for the odds of 1.3 on Bet365. If we look at the underlying data for both teams, we have Liverpool, who are in the top 3 for attacking data for XG, and in the top 3 for expected goals conceded, which is defensive data. And then you have Southampton, who are on the polar opposite end of it, where they're in the bottom 3. So they're in the bottom 3 for defensive data, as well as the bottom 3 for attacking data. So it's just the type of matchup where it's like David versus Goliath. And so I think Liverpool just have a major advantage. And if we look at the historical record between Liverpool and Southampton, keep in mind that Southampton have been in the Premier League in recent seasons. They've been a yo-yo club. They've been in the Prem, gone down to the Championship, and then come back up to the Prem. So there are some historical games between Liverpool and Southampton that are relevant. So in the past 7 years, when Liverpool have played them, they've won all 6 matches, scoring 21 goals against them and only conceding 3. So whether Liverpool have been at home or away versus Southampton, they've dominated that match. In fact, Southampton have kind of been and had this reputation of being Liverpool's feeder club. Liverpool have gone out to Southampton and bought a lot of the players that they liked from them. The likes of Sadio Mane, Adam Lallana, Virgil van Dijk, they've all come from Southampton. So usually you'll see the best players sort of move from Southampton to the likes of like a Liverpool or a Man City or a Chelsea. I just look at the underlying data for both clubs and it just feels like an obvious win for Liverpool, even though they're away from home. And if we factor in the form for Liverpool, they've played 17 games, winning 15, drawing 1, losing 1, which is a 90% success rate on the money line. That's crazy. And so the question to ask yourself is, do you believe in Liverpool as a genuine title contender? Well, if you do, they have to go out to the likes of Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich, whether they're at home or away, and they have to win the game. It's as simple as that. They have a very good historical record versus them. I just feel like they have better underlying data versus them. And honestly, I think there's only one reason that Liverpool won't pick up this win, and it's because Trent Alexander-Arnold is currently injured. Now, this is the type of match where I'm expecting Southampton to play 5 at the back. They're going to sit deep. This fixture doesn't really suit Salah from the way that the tactical setup is. He does have a very good record against them. I think he has like 7 returns in 7 games versus them, so nothing to really stress about. But the question to ask yourself is, do you think that with Trent being out, it will hamper Liverpool's attacking output? And honestly, I think the answer to that is yes. Like, Trent is one of the most generational chance creators, especially from defense. But we do have a very good deputy in Conor Bradley, who is the captain of his national team in Northern Ireland. And so I'm kind of just thinking like, okay, in order for Liverpool to break down the low block, you're going to need that combination play between Trent and Salah. And maybe if Trent is out, maybe that'll be a little bit more risk to this. But as a whole, I just look at this matchup and I think Liverpool have so many good quality leaders, good quality players within their squad. I mean, think about the quality of players that they have. They've got the France captain in Konate, they've got the Netherlands captain in Van Dijk, they've got the Scotland captain in Robertson, they've got the Northern Ireland's captain in Conor Bradley, then you've got McAllister, a World Cup winner, the Egyptian captain in Mohamed Salah, and he's, by the way, the #1 candidate for the Ballon d'Or currently. So, like, Liverpool have so many good quality players. I saw that Alisson Becker is back in training. I mean, this just feels like an absolute no-brainer. I'd be really surprised if this doesn't hit. So that's why this is my lock of the game week, and we're adding this on to every single bet that we're placing this week. My first best bet takes us out to the St. Mary's Stadium, where Southampton are going to be at home, hosting Liverpool. And in this match, we're going to be backing the big man, the captain, Virgil van Dijk, to take a shot, Liverpool to win, and over 1 goal in the match. And I know when I'm looking at the underlying data for Van Dijk, it's not that great. Only getting 1 shot in 5 of 11 Premier League games, which is a hit rate below 50%. However, there are 2 reasons why I really like this play. The first is that it's a narrative play where Van Dijk is well rested during the international break. He got some time off from Netherlands because, you know what, he's going to be playing every single game for Liverpool. We're going to be challenging for multiple competitions. He's going to be playing in the Premier League and the Champions League at least twice a week. He's going to be playing football. So it was nice to see him get a week's off so he can rest. And he's coming up against his former side in Southampton at his former ground. He probably has a lot of friends in the area, a lot of the managers and trainers that he'll know, and he'll be a little bit extra motivated in this match. And from a stylistic perspective, I expect Liverpool to be dominating possession, picking up at least 60 to 65% of the possession, probably creating a lot of chances, taking a lot of shots. Hopefully they'll be drawing some fouls as well, which will lead to a lot of set piece opportunities from the likes of corners and free kicks. And hopefully maybe Robertson or McAllister will be able to put the ball in the box, and we're hoping that Van Dijk can get his head on the end of at least one of them. I know that it's not too much to ask for. With the hit rate of below 50%, you're going to feel a little bit nervous. However, let me tell you this stat. When Van Dijk has played against newly promoted sides last year, he had 1 shot in all 6 matches. Bro, this is the reason that I absolutely love this bet. It feels like an absolute slam dunk spot, so that's why I put it as my first best bet of the game week. My second best bet takes us out to the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City are going to be at home hosting Spurs, and this is going to be the best game of the weekend. I genuinely can't wait to watch this game, and I actually wanted to make sure I had a bet for this match, but fortunately I actually have 2 bets. So the first one is going to be Haaland to score and Liverpool to win for 2.0 on Bet365. Now, Haaland has picked up a goal against Spurs in 2 of 4 matches. He actually picked up 4 XG against them in 4 games. And usually if Haaland gets 4 XG, he's such a good finisher, he probably has 5 goals. But lucky for Spurs, he had 4 XG against them and only scored 3 goals against them, which is pretty uncharacteristic for Haaland. But he has a 50% goal return rate, which is solid for us if we're looking at his data. Now, there are 3 factors that make me really like backing Haaland. The first is that he's at home. Haaland scored 15 goals in 16 games at home last season, and he picked up at least 1 goal in 9 of 16 matches at home. So that's one factor in Haaland's favor. The second is that the best chance creator in the Premier League, Kevin De Bruyne, is back fit. We saw him getting 10 to 15 minute cameos in Game Week 9 and Game Week 10 before the international break, and now he's had 2 weeks off to rest, and so he should be fit and available to potentially get at least 30 minutes or maybe even get a start. So that would be great for Holland. And lastly, Spurs have this crazy high line. Regardless of who's fit and who's available, who the opponent is for Postecoglou, it doesn't matter. He always goes with this front foot attacking tactics. And that's what I love about Spurs in general. And so the interesting thing to add on to that is that the main center backs for Spurs in Romero and Van de Ven, who are keys for them to actually play with the high line, are actually not going to be fit. And I'm not expecting both of them to play. Maybe Spurs will be lucky and one of them will play, but I think both of them are going to be injured. And so that's another factor in Holland's favor. So I'm thinking about this where Holland's at home. Spurs have this crazy high line. They have some injuries to the defenders, and KDB's back. Holland is definitely going to be scoring this game week. So that's why I really like this spot so much, and this is going to be my second best bet of the game week. My third best bet is going to be still in the Man City and Tottenham game. And if you think about this match, you're expecting Man City to be dominating possession. And you know what Man City's Achilles heel has been this year? It's been transition defense. And so that's why it's the perfect spot to be backing my boy Heung-min Son to get a shot on target and Liverpool to win for the odds of 2.5 on Bet365. I genuinely could not believe the value on Son for a shot on target because transition defense has been Man City's weakness. That's exactly what Spurs will be able to take advantage of with the likes of Heung-min Son and Brennan Johnson, because you have the likes of Solanke and Madison and Kulusevski. They'll be dropping into the midfield and creating chances on the counterattack in behind the Man City defense. Because the issue is that Man City have had this transition defense weakness because Rodri was the main guy solidifying that defense, but he's been injured. And the guy that's come in to replace him is Kovacic, and he's not a CDM. He's not a 6. He's more of like a box-to-box midfielder, and his ability defensively to win duels is just not as strong as Rodri. And because of that, Man City are just more fragile defensively. And you got to keep in mind that Man City already have Ederson, who's not a good shot stopper in net. So I think if Son gets it on target, he's probably going to score in this match. So if you want to and you fancy that, I don't mind Son to score at all either. The value is great on it too. But in general, Son loves playing against Man City. Like last year, he almost won Arsenal the league if he had just scored that goal. But again, he got the shot on target. In fact, he has a very good historical record versus Man City, where he's got one shot on target in 9 of his last 10 games against them. That's incredible. So from a tactical perspective, I expect this game to be very back and forth. I think Holland and Son will both get a shot on target. So happy to be backing Holland to score as my second best bet and Son to get a shot on target as my third best bet. Oh, damn. Do you feel that breeze? Like, damn, it's getting a little bit cold in here because in this match, we're going to be back in the main man. Cole Palmer to pick up a goal or an assist, Chelsea to win or draw, and Liverpool to win as Chelsea go away from home to the King Power Stadium and play away against Leicester. And it does feel like the type of match that Palmer will absolutely thrive in. You know, Palmer isn't the type of guy that you want to be backing on a week in and week out basis. He's just not as consistent as the likes of even Saka or Holland and Salah, and how consistent they'll be with their GA and how much they basically get one GA every single game, regardless of who they play. Palmer's not that guy. But he still picks up the same amount of goals and assists at the end of the season because he absolutely destroys bad teams. Last year, he picked up 33 goals and assists in 29 matches, picking up over 1 GA per match. And he's picked up at least 1 goal involvement in 20 of his 29 starts last year. And I thought that maybe last year he was getting a little bit lucky because he had like 100 penalties. It was ridiculous. And so I told myself, like, I'm going to put him on the watch list. Let's wait and see how he adapts to year 2 in the Prem, being like the star boy of his team. And you know what? He's delivered once again. 12 goals and assists, 7 goals and 5 assists in 11 games. He's genuinely insane, and a lot of his goals only come against bad teams. So he's not even in his final form yet, and he's already a monster. Imagine what he'll be when he improves and is more consistent and delivers against the likes of Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool. Putting aside Palmer's record against big teams, let's just focus on how Palmer did against bad teams last year. In fact, he absolutely destroyed them, especially when he played against newly promoted sides. He played against newly promoted side 4 times last year, picking up at least 1 goal involvement in all 4 of those matches, and he got 5 goals and 3 assists in all of those games combined. So 8 returns in 4 games is crazy. Like, Palmer's just ridiculous with his consistency and his explosivity in bad matches, and it just makes sense to me. Whenever Palmer's playing against a bad team, whether he's home or away, he's going to kill them. And so that's why I want to be allowing Palmer to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and that's why I've avoided the Chelsea money line, because I'm nervous about their defense, at least for now. However, Leicester do have some injuries. I think Vardy's just been in partial training. I think Fatawu is out for the season now. Buonanotte is suspended. I think Chelsea will probably win, but because I'm going to be adding Liverpool to all of these bets, I didn't need to be adding Chelsea to win as well. But if you really want to be backing Chelsea to win, I really like that spot as well. My fifth best bet takes us out to St. James's Park, where Newcastle are going to be at home, hosting West Ham. And in this match, we're going to be backing Newcastle to win or draw, Isak to get 2 shots, get one of them on target, and Liverpool to win as the icing on top. Now, if we look specifically at Newcastle's record at home, it was very, very solid last year, playing 18 games at home and only losing 3 of them. And 2 of those losses came to Liverpool and Man City, which I think is very understandable. So, meaning that if we just bet Newcastle to win or draw when they're at home, they only would have had one bad beat for us the entire season. So, that's something that's very reliable. And Isak is actually somebody that's a 90-minute man on the pens, and so are the other players that I've been backing, the likes of Palmer and Son and Holland. They're all 90 minutes and on pens, and Isak is no different. He's actually picked up 2 shots, got one of them on target in 5 of 9 games when he started. However, I'm going to be just taking out the one game where he picked up the injury and was subbed off at halftime. So his hit rate is actually at 5 of 8 games, so over 50%. And I just feel like Isak is just so reliable because in the last 4 or 5 games, he's picked up form, picking up the 2 shots and one on target in 4 of his last 4 games against the likes of Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Nottingham Forest. Like 3 of those games are actually difficult defenses. Imagine what he's going to do against teams that actually are poor defensively. And the thing is that Newcastle started the season very poorly because they sort of changed their tactics where they were relying a lot of the crossing and creativity from trips. But Trippier's been injured and sort of out of the lineup or out of favor, so they've had to sort of adjust their formation. Anthony Gordon's gone from left wing back to right wing. They've added in the likes of Lewis Hall as the left back, as well as Livermento as the right back. So there's sort of been a new adjustment to different players coming in and having the players gel to sort of understand the new system and the new nuances of the players they're playing with. And it feels like they finally clicked and they're finally starting to gel, and Newcastle are picking up form, and they've really been passing the eye test recently. And also from the eye test, West Ham just look bad. If we look at the underlying data, this is where we'll see a disparity between the two teams. Now, from an attacking perspective, it's surprisingly similar, where both teams are creating 1.3 XG per match. From a defensive perspective, however, Newcastle are 10th in the league defensively, conceding 1.4 XG per match, whereas West Ham are 16th in the league defensively, conceding 1.8 XG per match. So Newcastle are 20% better from a defensive perspective, and they're at home. And so I just feel like I want to be backing them to pick up a result. And Isak has just been so consistent these days. Recently, he's been hitting this line in 4 of the last 4, so I'd be happy to be backing Isak in a spot like this. And in my sixth best bet, we're going to be taking him in a different way, where it's going to be Newcastle to win or draw, Liverpool to win, and Isak to get the goal or the assist, because I just absolutely love this matchup against West Ham. Because when I'm looking at Isak, I just think he's been so consistent. He's picked up at least 1 goal or 1 assist in 16 of his 27 starts last year. That's an over 60% return rate. And if we look at how he did this year, he picked up at least 1 goal or 1 assist in 5 of his 8 starts. I took out the one game where he subbed off early. That's why it's out of 8. If I didn't do that, it would be 5 out of 9. But overall, if he plays, his regular allotted minutes and there's no injury, he'd be picking up a hit rate over 50%. So that's really strong. The question to ask yourself is Isak a good finisher? And the answer to me is absolutely yes. He picked up 23 goals and assists from an underlying data set of 18 XGI last year. So maybe he was just lucky. Will that trend continue this year? Well, the answer is yes. He's picked up 6 goals and assists from an underlying data set of 5.1, showing that he is an XGI overperformer, and that just makes sense. He's one of the most silky and smooth players you'll ever watch in the Prem. He is actually so good. There are big things coming for Alexander Isak, and I really like this matchup for him coming up against West Ham, because West Ham have conceded 19 goals in 11 games, which is crazy, but 9 of those goals have come from opposition strikers themselves, which is nuts. Well, is that just a small sample size trend? That's only been 11 games. What about West Ham last year? Well, West Ham conceded the second highest amount of goals to strikers last year. So this trend is just continuing, where strikers just continue to destroy West Ham. So it's a great matchup for Isak. And historically, he has a great record versus them as well, picking up 4 goals and 1 assist against them in 2 games last year. Like, he killed them last year, both at home and away. So it's a great matchup for him, and it's just favorable. And he has a good record. He's an extra overperformer. It's just the perfect spot to be backing Alexander Isak, especially because he's at home. Those are going to be my 6 best bets going into game week 12. Now, just keep in mind that all of this effort, analysis, the video, the editing, I do this all for free. I don't charge you guys anything. If there's anything I could ask from you guys, it's that if you just would share this video with some of your friends, just drop a like or comment or subscribe to the video. It means a lot to me. It gives me the encouragement to keep going. I'm hoping to grow the community and as quick as possible so we can crack the books together. So hopefully I provide some value to you, and I'll see you guys again in game week 13. Hopefully it's a lucky one for us.